session with me. We're going to close our eyes, make our minds peaceful and pleasant, and ready to embrace the scripture of the divine. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Inhale peace, purity. Exhale all of our thoughts. We'll start with non-centered. So please repeat as we chant. Simple. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. 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 Hare Radha Narayana Vasudeva. He Radha Narayana Vasudeva. He Radha Narayana Vasudeva. He Radha Narayana Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govinda Hare Murari. 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 He Radha Narayana Vasudeva. 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 Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai.
Tamastu Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsacharanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Bharata, our Mother India, regarded in the original purity of her primordial nomenclature, is known as Bharata. In our Sanskrit Vyakaran, the verbal root of the word Bharata, Bha, the root of that means to shine. To shine with the light of knowledge. To shine with the light of consciousness. And so a nation that would name its entire country as Bharata is indicative of the texture of the minds of the people that constituted that society. Our ancestors. That they were a society that valued Bha, the brilliance of wisdom, the brilliance of character above all else. And so, as we will see tonight in our Bhagavad Gita discourse, that in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, when Bhagavan Shri Krishna hails to Arjuna as Hey Bharatarshava, Hey Bharata, O son of Bharat, what he does is that he reminds Arjuna. He says, oh my dear friend, though at this point you may stand on the battle of Kurukshetra, confused, completely torn and dejected as to what is the right thing to do, that should I hold to my duty and destroy these non-protectors of Dharma, the Kauravas? Or should I surrender for the sake of kith and kin, for the sake of family, because they are my cousins? Bhagavan Shri Krishna is alluding to in Arjuna. He says that in those moments when emotions of the heart overpower intelligence of the intellect, remember who you are. Remember that you are Bharata. Remember where you are from, and let not these pity-filled tamasic emotions overpower the sattva of your intelligence. And so do not fall to your lower emotional identity, but instead rise to your higher self. And so through just this one name of Bharata, Bhagavan Shri Krishna brilliantly reminds Arjuna in one swift move of his inner strength, of his true glory, and inspires him into action immediately with one word. How many of us have had friends who have been down? And at that point, we wish that we could help raise them. What do? Sentence after paragraph after essay, and still we're unable to bring them out of it. With one word. The minute Bhagavan said Bharata, Arjuna immediately clicked in his mind, what am I doing? I am Bharata. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could raise others or ourselves with one word? This was the brilliance of our Bhagavan Shri Krishna. But there was a genius hidden even in this word. Because with this solitary act, Bhagavan knew that for generations to come, all of us would read Bhagavad Gita, and we would all be inspired by this word, this teaching. And so through this teaching, he was able to reach multiple confounded souls and remind us of the Bharata hidden within this bewildered being. Because we are the Arjunas of this modern era, suffering from what our Pūjya Gurudev would call the Arjuna disease. That disease of mind, that disease of dejection that we all fall to. And for us, our Kurukshetra, our battlefield is this Dharma Kshetra of our life, actually. And so Bhagavad Gita begins with this profound self-inquiry. That, have you realized that your life, your Kurukshetra, is your Dharma Kshetra, actually? That life is not a battlefield, it is actually a field for you to practice your Dharma and win the battle of life. And so he begins Bhagavad Gita with this line. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samavetayu-yutsavaha mamakav pandavasyeva kimakurvata sanjaya. Kimakurvata sanjaya. He asks, how did it all unfold? Means, Arjuna's story is our story. And so Bhagavan is inquiring of us that have you ever before found yourself in this position that Arjuna has, at that proverbial crossroad in life, where the path is unclear. And so, when we face that fork in the road, we wonder to ourselves, how will all of this unfold? In our Sanatana Dharma philosophy, in our Hindu philosophy, this fork in the road, it is given the term as Śreyas and Preyas. Everyone else is okay? They can hear? Yes. Okay. Anyone who can't hear? Amma, you can come sit closer here if you want.
That's okay.
Are you sure everyone can hear properly? So remember what I said, once I start, no moving, no interruption. Good? So position yourself if you need to. Sure? So what are we talking about? The fork in the road of life. What is it called? What is it called?
Śreyas and Preyas.
Śreyas and Preyas. Shreya Marga is the path of the good. Preya Marga is the path of the pleasant. And so, the earlier verses of chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita in total is actually a comparison of these two principles, of the two paths that we can all take in life at different crossroads. And these two paths are actually embodied through the character of Arjuna and Duryodhana. Preyas is the path of the pleasant. Means it is unarmored by fame, by achievements, by possessions, by temporary joys. But it lacks a long-sightedness of vision, which Duryodhana often did. On the other hand, Arjuna, in the midst of all of his sorrow, even in the midst of all of his false logic and trying to convince Bhagavan Shri Krishna why he should run away from this battlefield, and that is his highest dharma. Even though he was so confused, yet what did he do? He was one that held to discipline. And so he did not leave that battlefield until Bhagavan gave him permission to do so. And he refused to leave his fellow army men behind. It means Śreyas is that higher path, that even in spite of ourselves, even in spite of us wanting to run away, we hold on for the good of others. Even if it might be at our own expense. Even if, like Arjuna, he was completely confused as to what that higher good was. This example shows us that to be a Shreya Margi, you don't always have to have the answers. You don't always have to know what is the right thing to do. But just the fact that you're willing to fight, just the fact that even doing the right thing creates this emotion in you that I want to do the right thing, but I don't know how to do it. A Shreya Margi is not a perfect person. Bhagavan shows us that even in our moments of weakness, the fact that making decisions can make us weak means that we want to do something better. And so that is what makes us a true Shreya Margi. And so at this point, he's asking, have we not found ourselves in this position in life before? Where some extremely difficult situation, like Arjuna is facing, it shakes us to our core. And we cannot figure out what is the right decision to be made. And like Arjuna, when that fear seizes us, what happens? When life really hits hard, sometimes we collapse. And that is what happened to Arjuna here. He said, Sidanti mama gatrani mukhyam chat parishusyate vepatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate kandivam sramsate hastat vakchaiva paridahyate nacha shakno vyavasthatum Brahmati vacha me manaha. Arjuna says, Sidanti mama gatrani. He says, my body is burning all over. I'm shivering. My mouth is dry. I've become so weak. I cannot even stand. The Gandiva bow, which was Arjuna's pride and joy. He says, the Gandiva slips from my hand. I have no strength to hold it. My mind is just whirling around and around. For any of us who have found ourselves in a position like that in life before, you know what that feels like. What do we do? In Vivekachudamani, there's a beautiful shloka that comes. You can feel the turmoil of that Shishya as he reaches out to the Guru. He says, Urvara samsara davagi taptam dodhuyamanam duradrishtavatai bhitam prapannam paripahi mrityo sharanyam anyatyadaham na jane. He says, Durvara samsara, the samsara is burning me. Davagi taptam, I feel like I'm in flames. Oh Guru, find me a way out of this. I need to get out. When life hits us, sometimes it hits very hard. But where does it hit the hardest? Our heart. The most daring of men, the most formidable of women, but when it hits home, even the best amongst us crumble. This is why Bhagavan chose Arjuna to give Bhagavad Gita to. Because Arjuna was no weakling. He was one of the most formidable warriors of his time. And so for someone of his strength, in his territory, because they were standing on a battlefield, this is Arjuna's wheelhouse. And for someone of his strength to fall prey to those emotions, to fall prey to that temperamental vasana that we call love and affection, kith and kin. Even if someone of his strength could fall because of those attachments, in his strongest place, his stronghold, Bhagavan says this is the type of person who needs Bhagavad Gita. It is said Bhagavad Gita is for the man who is at the lowest point in his life, but who himself is of the highest caliber. These are the ones who our saving grace needs to be Bhagavad Gita. If you consider yourself of that highest caliber, Bhagavad Gita is for you when disaster hits. And especially when it hits, there's that one place in your heart which is very soft. Where is that place? It's a place where your children's name. Children and grandchildren. You all know where I'm talking about. The greatest challenge of life The ones that shake us, that we're most fearful of, are the ones that threaten our family. So what do? We spend so much of our lives putting everything in place to ensure that when this potentially disastrous situation hits, everything is as much as I can put into place. So we make all of these external arrangements. We ensure that financially we're stable. The bank account is good. We have enough financial stability. Insurance is in place. Emotionally, we ensure we have a good support system. Socially even, we ensure we're in good standing with the temple every Monday. So at least a support system can come. Society can come to support us if needed. All of these external infrastructures we put in place. Financial, emotional, social. But what happens when our internal infrastructure fails? We send our kids to the best colleges. We give them the latest devices. We give them all of the best technology to study with that they need. But did we equip them with a similar spiritual education internally? Along with that, spectacular, secular preparation externally. Externally, we buy them the best clothes, the best jewelry, all beautiful accessories. But did we work on beautifying their character also? How do we beautify the character of our children? By showing them, through our own example, a willingness to live by the principles that we wish to see them value. How many of us here are Balavihar parents? How many of us drop the kids and go? Don't raise your hand. Means we cannot tell our children, Balavihar is good for you and I want to give you a good spiritual education. Are you getting a good spiritual education? You have to show them by your own example what you are willing to live by. Have we provided that internal infrastructure for them? We praise them when they achieve well, but are we strong enough to scold them when the time is appropriate? See, if this internal infrastructure is not there, then we have failed them internally, and we will have contributed to the external failures that will unfold from that. There is one caution I want to caution you all. Being in Atlanta, I am seeing this too much. Children with, it's a fad to have a psychiatrist or a psychologist. A psychiatrist and a psychologist is there for kids who need it. It's not there to be a fashion statement. But all of our kids, Indian kids now, kids with a Hindu background or a strong spiritual background from whatever religion. Religion should be that psychology and that psychiatry. So many of them are seeking that. Why? Because the internal infrastructure is not built properly. Why? Because our Indian families are moving here. Some of them, and I hope not these, in trying to integrate into the society, we have lost the strength of our character. We give our children so much autonomy now. In our Indian families back in India, think about your parents. If the child says now, I don't want to go to Balavihar, I'm going to high school now, I have so many other things, what do the parents say? Okay, well, you're really so busy and your schedule is, set, no problem. When you were young and growing up, if you said, no, I don't want to go to the temple, what would be the response? Spanking. Not just spanking. You would never even say, I don't want to go, because you didn't think you had a choice to say no.
There's no choice.
No, and mothers didn't even need to scold. They looked, yes, that's it. You're gone, out the door. Why have we lost that? You know why? Because our children are very intelligent now. But we are mistaking. This is a difference between intelligence and maturity. They are very intelligent, no doubt. But they do not have the maturity that you do. And you are called parents because you're supposed to parent them. And so they don't get to make that decision. If you value a spiritual education for them, then you say, no, this is right. I remember one of my friends who I graduated Balavihar, who was a chick. He said his daughter told him, in that rebellious teenage phase, I've decided I want to be Christian now. I'm not going to Balavihar anymore. He said, you can be Christian, you can be Muslim, but you're going to Balavihar. Full stop. Parenting. We give our kids a little too much autonomy because we're trying to fit into a society. This society has its great things, but our society had its greatness also. Don't forget our Bharatiya Dharma. And if it worked for you, it will work for your children. Hold to that internal infrastructure. Because if we fail them internally, then they will only fail externally. Because we all know all battles are won inside first, then it's conquered outside. There is where we have to be. This failure in parenting is what the persona of Dhritarashtra was put into Mahabharata to teach us. Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhana. Even in Duryodhana's childhood, he had committed innumerable indiscretions. Indiscretions that went unchecked. Why? Because Dhritarashtra did not have the heart to scold his son. But this is why Bhagavan gives us two parents. Because when dad is too soft to scold, mom is there. Mom is always ready. But what happens when both parents fail to step up? What happens? Then we create the Duryodhanas of the world. Dhritarashtra was the blind king. The symbolism we just saw with the Balavihar kids, we just taught them. Dhritarashtra was the blind king. His wife, Gandhari, what did she do? She blindfolded herself in solidarity to her husband. She said, my husband is blind. I don't want to make him feel as a lesser person, as a wife. I will bring myself down and I will blindfold myself. And we say, wow, what a dharmic wife. That is the worst thing she could have done. If your husband has a weakness, your job is to be his strength. Dhritarashtra actually represents the mind. Gandhari represents the intellect. Why does Dhritarashtra represent the mind? Mind, if you see Gurudev's BMI chart, mind is the seat of emotions. Intellect is the seat of intelligent thought. And so our mind is, since it's the seat of emotions, it is naturally blinded. We know that statement, right? Emotions are blind. Love is blind. Means emotions naturally blind us. And so if mind is the seat of emotions, then mind is naturally blind. Therefore, Dhritarashtra was born blind. He was naturally blind. As a mind, as we grow through life, what happens? Then we get married. So the mind, as it grows, it should eventually wed the intellect. So as a mind matures, it eventually should wed with the intellect. That's why children's minds are very immature, very emotional. As we grow older, we become more intellectual. That is the wedding of mind and intellect, which is symbolized by Dhritarashtra and Gandhari's marriage. Now, if the intellect chooses to blind itself to the indiscretions of the mind, then what happens? Only 100 negative things can come from a blind mind and a blind intellect. How many children did Dhritarashtra and Gandhari have? 100. 100 negative qualities. It was all symbolic. So when your very intelligent children come and tell you what nonsense you read in the Shastras, people had 100 children. How is that possible? you explain to them. When you go to school and you do literature, are all of your poems literal or are there some figurative that you have to write essays on the interpretation of it? Just so in our Shastra, some stories are literal, some are figurative. So figure out the interpretation of this story. The 100 children are not meant to be eaten. It is a symbolism of the wedding of a blind mind and a blind intellect producing 100 negative qualities within us, ourselves. This was the symbolism, the internal symbolism of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. And why we should not let our mind, our intellect be blinded and led by our mind. The external symbolism of this is a husband and a wife. The husband and wife are supposed to be a team. They're supposed to lift each other, not be an accomplice to the other's downfall, not to further undermine an already weakened foundation. Because the day that internal infrastructure of that pair is broken, husband and wife, mind and intellect, then everything you have built upon that foundation, your family, your social network, all of it will collapse. And when husband and wife cannot be a team, then even children are doomed. Duryodhana wanted to be a better person, you know. His parents did not provide the foundation to help him. And that is given in Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, Duryodhana approaches Bhagavan Shri Krishna and he says, Bhagavan, janamyaham dharma nacha me pravritti. Janami adharma nacha me nivritti. He says, Krishna, he goes there completely confused. He says, everyone thinks I'm a bad person. I know what is right. I can't do it. Janami aham dharma. I know what is dharma. Nacha me pravritti. I just can't do it. Why? Janami adharma. I know what's wrong. Nacha me nivritti. I can't stop myself. Why? Because the foundation determines the strength of the building that's built upon it. And if that foundation was blind to begin with, the child suffers at the end. Beyond our own moral compass, if our parents, our teachers, our society is not conducive to calibrating that moral equipment adequately, then what chance does the child have? I hope from today onward you will look at the character of Duryodhana through a different lens. Because we are all accustomed to dismissing Duryodhana as the bad egg and the reason why this whole war happened and all of these things. I hope now you look on Duryodhana with compassion and with pity, because he did not have the right foundation. And with this, I want you all to realize the great duty that has been entrusted upon you all as parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, teachers. You have a chance to make a difference in these children's lives. How? By your caliber. Our caliber is seen in the way we speak. Our caliber is seen in the way we act. See, children don't do what we say. God knows children don't do what we say. They do what we do. And so, don't tell them what you value. Show them. So don't just drop them for Balavihar and go home. You have to be a part of the adult study group. Or if this center doesn't have an adult study group, find an online study group. You can join my study group in Atlanta. But at some point, your children need to see that you value this knowledge also. So many videos are there online of Swamiji's, of Discourse. If that is being played in the household, the children will understand my parents value this thing. They will grow up with that foundation, not even questioning if this is an option or not. If this is what they grow with, then this is what they will practice. in this society, children are losing their way very, very easily. We assume that our children will grow the way we think they will. But there are a lot of temptations in this society, in this age that they're growing up in. Whether in America or in India, it's no different. Right? The internal temptations are so strong. And so it's not about just telling them what they're supposed to do. You have to show them. And they will begin to emulate that without even questioning it. Or else, what are we doing? We are building Duryodhanas. Throughout the opening portions of Bhagavad Gita, see Duryodhana's character. He displays an overt arrogance and even disrespect, not only to his fellow army men, but even to his guru, to his teacher Dronacharya, who taught him warfare. In the first chapter, he actually goads Duryodhana. He says, Ashretam Pandoputranam Acharyam Mahatim Chamom Vyudham Dhrupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. He says, oh teacher, Pashyetam, look, behold the mighty army of the Pandavas. Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Your own students are here arrayed to fight against you in battle. It's almost as though he stopped short of saying, oh teacher, are you proud of yourself? Look, your own students ready to fight against you. So disrespectful to his guru. Is this an appropriate way to speak to your guru? Especially when you know that the circumstances of this war were not black and white. There were many who were fighting on the side of the Kauravas who wanted to be on the side of the Pandavas. They had no choice. But yet Duryodhana stood there, not just with disrespect to his own guru, but with an arrogance towards his own kinsmen. At one point he says, look at all of these soldiers gathered before us, our front line, observe their strength. And see their determination and will to give up their lives for me. Almost no one on that battlefield was there to give up their lives for Duryodhana. They were on that battlefield to engage their duty as instructed by state. That for country and kinsmen you have been called to battle. And you are a Kshatriya, therefore it is your dharma to fight. That's all. So from where did this delusion descend upon Duryodhana? That they were there to fight for his sake. Where did it come from? As they say, the apple does not fall far from the tree. And so it actually finds its origin in the very first verse of the very first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Dhritarashtra for the very first time in Bhagavad Gita displays his failure as a father. When he says, Mamaka Pandavashtreva, he says, oh Sanjaya, relate to me what happens on that battlefield between Mamakaha Pandavaha cha eva. Between Mamakaha, between my people and Pandava, those people. Who were those people? His own nephews. In fact, when Pandu died, Dhritarashtra should have adopted his brother's children under him as his own children, yes or no?
Yes.
And so those children should have grown up with his children as brothers. Instead, what happened? Mamakaha, Pandavaha. Me and mine, him and his. Me or more, Torai. Shri Ramcharitamanus. Sant Tulsidas says, me or more, me and mine, torte, you and yours. Me or more, torte, Maya. The definition of Maya, of one deluded by Maya, is me and mine, you and yours. And so if this is how Dhritarashtra spoke, then this was what Duryodhana grew up hearing. Do you watch the way you speak amongst your children? Do we get so caught up, husband and wife talking, and they're so caught up about what the neighbor did, they don't notice the child comes in and he's listening also. Be careful. We don't intentionally want to lead our children down the wrong path, but be careful the subtle influences that might be coming up. Do you watch what you're watching on television when your kids are around? And don't think they're asleep in the room. Huh? If you're watching TV downstairs, they can hear everything, I'm telling you. Be very careful, be subtle, because as long as they can hear it, it's seeping in. Very easily these things can happen. And so, if these are the type of influences that Duryodhana had, if this is what Dhritarashtra spoke, then this is what Duryodhana grew up hearing. And so fast forward a decade or few, and where would you find him but on a battlefield fighting for mine and your kingdom? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yutsavaha. They were gathered there ready to fight. And then Dhritarashtra will have the gall to ask, Kimakuruvata Sanjaya, what did they do? Exactly what you taught them to do so many years ago. To fight for mine and yours. It's hard when trials and tribulations hit our family. But it's worst when we were the source of it. Be careful with our children. If they had trained, if Dhritarashtra had trained Duryodhana to begin with, had scolded him when he did wrong, those small acts grow into bigger things. Nepotism to the point of maiming his character grows is an injustice. And it is a failure on our parts as parents and teachers if we try to just keep things pleasant for our children. How many of us want our children's lives to be perfect? Everyone should be raising their hand. We want our children's life to be great. But the key to perfection is imperfection. Yes or no? Have you not grown the most in your life through the hardest things that you've been through? So when you deny your children hardships in life, you're denying them the ability to build character. There's a story about these two men who were neighbors. They lived right next to each other. And each of them got the same plant at the same time. Beautiful ornament, beautiful tree that they got. One of them would prune it, keep it well, take care of it. And the other one forgot about that plant. Actually, barely took care. Didn't water it, didn't do anything. Intermittently, he put some water, that's it. Only what the plant needed, he gave it. More than that, he didn't pay attention. The other man carefully pruned and nurtured that plant. One day, a storm came. And what happened? The man whose beautiful plant was taken. The other man's plant remained rooted there. He said, how I took better care of my plant than you. How come my plant got taken away? He said, because you overtook care of your plant. And its root, you watered so much, its roots just went out right there and got all the nutrition it needed. I didn't water my plant. And so he had to go deep to find the nutrition he needed. And so the hardships he had to face made him bear deep roots so he could weather the storms of life. I'm not saying don't treat your children well, but give them a few storms to weather. Every once in a while, say no and let them throw tantrums. I don't know, I'm not encouraging this in this society, but we all knew how we grew up. When we started throwing a tantrum, we get too on top of it also. I'm not saying beat your children. I'm saying don't be afraid to discipline children. I don't know why in this society that has been lost. Think of the character that you built when you went back to your room angrily. Why did they scold me? And you had to work through that yourself. But the character that you built because of it. If we deprive our children of challenges, if going to deprive them of the chance to become strong. So be delicate about how we choose those challenges, but give them some. In this manner, this path of Śreyas and Preyas presents before us. And so, when our children come to those positions in life, now our children, granted, they may never stand on a battlefield, but we have to examine what internal wars that they face in this society and how our influence may amplify or pacify what they are going through and how they face it. And so at the end of the day, we must ask ourselves and be honest. Are we producing potential Duryodanas? Or are we grooming Arjunas? Arjunas who, even while poised on that battlefield, absolutely confused as to what the right thing to do is. Presenting all forms of kutarka, all forms of false logic as to why he should not fight that battle. But yet, he does not run from that battlefield. Arjuna, that seed was planted in him. And so the moral is that for us, if we are able to successfully plant that seed of Śreyas in the minds of our children, in the minds of our youth and our society, then one day the day will come when they will face that proverbial fork in the road, which all parents are terrified of. And when they reach that point where one path can be treacherous, the other path you're hoping they take. And at that point, you start wondering, have I taught them enough? Have I given them enough knowledge and skill to navigate the situation in life? You know what will happen? Once that seed has been planted, even if they don't know what the right answer is. Did Arjuna know what the right answer was? No. Did Arjuna make the right decision? No. At the beginning of second chapter, Arjuna says, I am not fighting this battle, and he put down his bow. Did he fight the battle? Yes. Did he win the battle? Yes. Did he decide to do that? No. What is the beauty of this? If the right seeds are planted in our children, I'm not saying they'll have the right answers, Even if they make the wrong choice, Arjuna made the absolutely wrong choice. Bhagavan saw to it that he did the right thing. Because there was sincerity in his heart. And so if we even doubt if our children have the answer to the situation, all we have to do is plant that seed. And Bhagavan will find a way to turn their mind towards the right answer. What will they do? Even if they don't have the answer there, they will turn inside and look for the answer. What will they say? Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetah yat shreyasyan nishchitam bruhitanne shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Shishyasteham. They will surrender to Bhagavan. They will seek refuge there. See, we don't need to give them all the answers in order to equip them for life. We just need to teach them who to turn to or where to look for the answer. I had one student who graduated Balavihar. And they came back to me and they said, Jyotiji, all that stuff you all taught us in high school, Balavihar, was useless when I went through this hard situation. I didn't know what to do. I'm trying to remember what you all taught me and nothing was coming. But you know what I did? I picked up that huge Holy Gita book that you made us all get and I just opened it. And there the answer was. I couldn't find the answer in myself, but I knew where to look because of what you all taught. You don't need to give them the answers, and you don't even need to know that they've learned it and they have the answer. You just need to guide them as to where to go. And if that seed was planted strongly, they will turn to that book and they will look for the answer. Have that faith. And if you have that faith, see, this world is not just a physical world. There's a subtle substratum to all of this. And the faith that you have is the faith that will get transferred to them. If you have the conviction in this knowledge, and you show them that, and when they go through difficulty, they will look to this knowledge also. As much as they become teenagers and adolescents, they may criticize. For those who haven't experienced it yet, wait, it's coming. They may look down upon this philosophy. It's possible. But if you have planted that seed from childhood, when trouble actually hits, they're only rebelling now because life is good. When life hits, that's the time when that thought will come. And when they start grasping, what can I look for? They will remember you looking to scripture. They will remember you looking to Bhagavan in the temple. And when that hard time hits, they will default to that. You show them, and they will find their way to it. And after that, just have faith. Shraddha is all. But faith will only come when you know you've done your best. So this is your task. As our Pūjya Gurudev would say, you do your best, and then you can easily leave the rest. Because you know the best will come. This is the cause-effect law of this universe. So do your best and then surrender. So with this, I want us to close our eyes. Let us surrender to the Bhagavan inside each of us. That whatever I may have done or not done in life, I want to be better now. Not just for myself, for my children, my grandchildren, my society. And so I am surrendering myself at your feet, Bhagavan. Shishasteham shadhimam tvam prabandam. You guide me. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Sharanam, I surrender at your feet. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. 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 Sharanam Mama. Sharanam Mama. Sharanam Mama. Sharanam Mama. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai.